League predictions time.
Yeah.
Look, some big matchups are here. Do not sleep on a Leverkusen West Ham, a Benfica Marseille. We're going to be talking about them, but let us know what are your thoughts down below in the comment section on YouTube, and let's go for it. Let's go with the one that is a matchup that two teams are quite used to seeing each other, between AC Milan and Roma. How are we feeling here, Breton?
Well, very simply put, both teams are playing really, really well right now. Aside from that second leg loss to Brighton, because they had already blew them out of the water in that first leg, I'm not counting that. So I'm going to say that they're on a 10-game unbeaten run under Daniele De Rossi. And it's Alex, it's a different Roma. Yeah. Right, it's a Roma where Dybala, Lukaku, Pellegrini can all coexist on the pitch. Lukaku's not even really scoring right now, but Dybala looks good. Pellegrini looks good. True. It's a club that believes in itself, a club that doesn't feel berated, that doesn't feel beaten down and told that they're not top four. Daniele De Rossi has taken almost like a page out of Big Ange Postecoglou's book in saying he's encouraging them. He's saying, if we don't get this done, I'd be surprised because I have the caliber, I have the quality, which is what makes this Roma team. I mean, AC Milan's playing really, really well right now, but I got to give heart over tactics, heart over talent. I think Roma has a very good chance of beating AC Milan and shocking them at San Siro first.
So you go Roma?
Tammy Abraham's back, playing his first minutes since June. It's really hard to say that because Christian Pulisic is playing really good football right now. I know. I'm gonna go the coward's route again. I'm gonna say it's a 1-1 tie. I'm gonna say a late goal by Lukaku, who hasn't done much in a while, but an early opening stunner by Rafa Leao, sending it across to let's see, who's on the right side normally. I'll say Chukwueze puts it away or something.
Chukwueze is a great player. Oh my days.
Or Giroud. We got to put Giroud.
The last dance of Giroud in European competitions, okay, in the Europa League. Dude. I think AC Milan are the favorites in both legs. But I do agree with what you said, that Daniele De Rossi, from getting this team with Jose Mourinho, he managed to unite the team a lot, and he's having a positive impact towards a lot of fans' expectations being like, is it possible? They were quite skeptical. So I'm liking what Daniele De Rossi is doing. I think he's putting a lot of responsibility to the captains, like a Mancini, like a Pellegrini, like a Dybala and a Lukaku. But if I'm going to say a prediction here in this game, I'll go AC Milan winning with a masterclass of Tijani Reinders. I think he's having a phenomenal season, Tijani Reinders. People are not talking of Tonali not being present in this AC Milan team, and it's because of Reinders. And the left side of AC Milan is one of the best left sides in football. Theo Hernandez and Rafael Leao. And if people do not agree with this statement, people do not know ball, okay, in my view.
And
so, yeah.
Three of Milan's top 4 goal scorers are Chelsea castoffs, if we might might remember now. But Olivier Giroud, 15, Pulisic, 13, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, 10. And I got to just drive this point home here. It's amazing what happens on this flip side. There's a big difference between the two clubs in that I feel like every AS Roma member will run through the wall for Daniele De Rossi right now. I'm not sure the same exists currently for Stefano Pioli and AC Milan. With that said, the talent level I think is much higher on AC Milan. And Rafa Leao at any point can end a game himself. Right? And, Theo Hernandez, that's without even bringing Theo Hernandez into the mix. They also have the better goalkeeper. They also have a better central midfield, arguably. But Tijani Reinders has looked very good. Yassine Adli had a phenomenal game over the weekend. But Christian Pulisic is just this. He's playing very different right now in that it's amazing what happens when you don't fumble a very good talent. Now, injuries have played a big part. But it's great to see him supported. It's great to see him confident. And his golazo over the weekend, it's just so fun to see. So heading into this, higher talent level in AC Milan, and if that wins out, then Milan wins. But I'm going to go draw at San Siro.
from what I'm hearing you talk, I'm like thinking you put AC Milan with all this. But now, another one that's easier to predict, I think, Liverpool against Atalanta. Another team from Serie A, Gasperini. And this is worth saying, 3 teams of Serie A are still in the Europa League. So it shows the good management that's been happening in Serie A with some of these teams. And Atalanta are a consequence of that with Gasperini. Trusting a lot of good players. Lookman, Scamacca is now looking good after his West Ham blimp. So I'm going to say Liverpool are going to win this game. But I do believe a lot of goals will happen. And like a 3-1 or a 4-1, that's my prediction for this one.
I'm going to agree with you. I think Anfield's going to be very hard for Atalanta to do anything at. But at the same time, the only real observation I have in this, because we talked about Liverpool for a while previously, the only real observation I have in this is starting to look at, we look at the French center backs, the French defense, English defense, the Portuguese defense, the Spanish defense, and how these young guys are just coming out of nowhere. Pau Cubarsí we've talked about, right? We've talked about all the young, Levi Colville and all them. Italy, man. Scalvini. Italy right now with Giorgio Scalvini at 19 years old. You've got Riccardo Calafiori, who has been one of the best, if not the best player for Bologna, which has been the shock side in Serie A this season. He's only 21. And then you've got Alessandro Bastoni at Inter Milan. I mean, wow. That's like your next 10 years sorted in defense. And obviously a national team side that long time coming has been, always espoused in Catenaccio, which is defense first, essentially. True. So I see Italy as really, really deep. But Giorgio Scalvini is the one I'm going to be watching for Atalanta. And whether or not a cast-off himself, like De Ketelaere, can really make it a nuisance at Anfield. But I got to say Liverpool is the stronger side.
But that's what pointed out with Scalvini. Scalvini, we did a list of top 10 under the age of 22 center backs in the world. Scalvini is the only Italian there. And that just shows he's still having that heritage of the Italian defense at the highest level. He's still going with it. But not bragging for our own, 3 players of the Portuguese league were in that list in the top 10. Diomande, Inácio, and Antonio Silva. So going with that, Antonio Silva was on that list. And it's actually top 4 most valuable center backs, 22 and under in transfer market, going against Marseille. Marseille that in their last 4 games.
In the mud.
Marseille 4 losses. I think Benfica needs a reaction towards the loss against Sporting. And I'm going to go Benfica winning in Estádio da Luz against Olympique de Marseille.
Yeah, and I think this is a situation where while Benfica is not fully out of it, I think they might have to concede the fact that Liga Portugal is not theirs, and they might turn all their attentions. This is going to be a very rabid dog, a very angry Benfica side, obviously with a lot of quality. And I don't think they expected Geni Katamo to be the one that put the flame out. But that's who it was. Amazing. And in the end, Benfica versus Marseille, I feel bad for Marseille in this moment. So I am going to say Benfica beats up on them at the Estádio da Luz. It's just a matter of whether or not they can put daylight between them and a return leg in Marseille.
And my prediction, João Neves, best player in both legs against Marseille with Benfica. I completely think that's the case. And you talked a bit about that game with Katamo. And I saw this comment, and I got triggered with it, Bretson. We put content about Ruben Amorim on FC Wonderkid, and I see comments saying, what has he done? Who is he? Is he good enough? Come on. 4 years ago, Sporting didn't win a league in 19 years. For you to build a culture of winning mentality is never easy anywhere. And when you have a league, when Benfica and Porto are so dominant, having the consistency and in 4 years after having 2 league titles, maybe if he wins this season, that is mad at the age of 39. And that's what Liverpool wants to ingrain with their next manager, a winning culture. Can Ruben Amorim do that? He can. Can De Zerbi do that? I don't know. I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
Yeah, but right. And De Zerbi, if you take De Zerbi's last year in Serie A at Sassuolo before he moved to Brighton, nobody would have necessarily been like, whoa, look at him. He's killing it, right? Exactly. Ruben Amorim is putting up more like Villas-Boas numbers. It's just whether or not he winds up being Jose Mourinho or Villas-Boas when he takes his next job.
It's like people don't understand that there's something not to happen 19 years before he arrived. They think it didn't happen because it's easy. Like how can you think that? Like it hurts my mind towards thinking that achieving success is easy in life. And I'm
right, but like, what is
a lot of people think
what
like
is the rubric? What is the rubric for a successful manager if it's not exactly what he's doing at Sporting?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
What is like? How do you even tell? Because we're not there. We don't get to talk or be a fly on the wall at their conversations with how he develops players. But you have plenty of okay managers that go to elite clubs and win trophies based on the talent they have. And then you have managers that literally go in and make their teams so much better than they probably should be. Now, Sporting, I think, is a combination of the two.
An ascension.
Where he... Exactly.
Growing
so,
ascension. And it's not
interesting.
a fluke type of season. So this is what I wanted to say about that, especially because we were mentioning Benfica. And Benfica losing to Sporting at home, it's no shame, okay? And they actually played very well. And one of the best teams playing against Sporting at home. Because Sporting this season in the league at home, 100% victories. 14 games, 14 wins. That's what Ruben Amorim built. A fortress. Estádio José Alvalade. With references Pote, Inácio, and convincing a Gyökeres and a Hillman coming. That's not easy when a 39-year-old manager does. Like the experience he has and the potential. And now the last one. We're talking about a Wonderkid manager. 42 is still a Wonderkid manager and the most talked manager in the world of football. I maybe say Xabi Alonso has been talked more in the past couple of months than Pep Guardiola because of what he's doing, being unbeaten. But Breton, do we believe Bayer Leverkusen will stay unbeaten after these 2 legs against West Ham?
Well, if we are taking their past performances in the Europa League previous to this, I mean, it was rocky. If it weren't for Patrick Schick, I mean, Leverkusen probably shouldn't even be in this competition, right? I mean, you had what was it, Slavia Prague and or was it Sparta? I can't remember which one.
Gets injured immediately. Leverkusen would have been out.
But here's like West Ham is better than either of those opponents that were annoying, incredibly annoying, that they needed amazing dramatics at the end of their game to beat. West Ham is a better team, and West Ham has players that are some of the best in the world at their positions, like Lucas Paqueta, like Jared Bowen, who hopefully is not too injured, but is obviously in contention to go and play a role for England, one of the favorites at Euro in Germany. You got Ward-Prowse, one of the best set-piece takers, and then you got Kudus, who can beat a team on any given day. So Leverkusen has shown they didn't go in and beat their previous opponents 6-0 in each leg, right? It's not the same. The Bundesliga and this is not the same. And they still have to beat Werder Bremen over the weekend, next weekend, after this first leg, in order to win the dang thing. So it comes down to the fact that they still got to get over the line. So in that first leg, I think they're going to be a little conflicted. I think they can afford to be. But I think West Ham actually pulls out a draw at the Bay Arena. And then I think the bigger leg is going to be what happens after they wrap it up next weekend, whether or not it's Bayern losing and they beat Werder Bremen or whatever. They wrap it up, and then all their attention turns to the European competition. What happens at the Olympic Stadium? What happens at the London Stadium with West Ham? Right. So yeah, that's my
bold.
thing.
That is so bold of a prediction right now. Oh my days! One thing you did say and you alluded to, Bayer Leverkusen are 1 win away of winning the Bundesliga right now.
It's true.
It's crazy. Harry Kane's worst nightmare is happening right now. Leverkusen are 41 games, 36 wins, 5 draws, madness. And David Moyes is the guy that can make something happen against them. And he can destroy the European treble happening. Or it's David Moyes or it's Jurgen Klopp. One of them will have to stop. Oh, no. It could be Pioli or Daniel De Rossi. You never know, too.
It could be.
But this is the thing, too, with Europa League. Best players in Europa League, Florian Wirtz, Mo Salah, Rafael Leão. There's a lot of top players in this competition, but not going with what you said. Going with what you said, but not agreeing. I'll go with Leverkusen beating West Ham, because I think they realize the importance that it will be this first leg having a win in it. but I think Kudus will score a goal. I'll go with that prediction off you. And I think it will be a 2-1 or a 3-2. Yeah. I think a lot of goals could be happening in this one. But Leverkusen on top.
Yeah, all I have to say is, could you imagine Kudus in this Leverkusen side? That would be pretty freaking
instead of
awesome.
Hoffman, that'd be great. But instead of Wirtz, that couldn't happen.
Tis true. But yeah, I don't know if James Ward-Prowse has another Olympico in him, but that is exactly what they did. And they just set themselves up for this game with the remontada versus Wolves. I know there was a crazy refereeing and an offside decision or whatever it was, a handball decision at the end of that Wolves game. But West Ham are I wouldn't say flying high, but they're doing pretty well heading into this.
I'll go Leverkusen winning. I'll go with Leverkusen winning. You go with a draw with West Ham. But let me ask you this, Breton. Between Ward-Prowse and Grimaldo, who's better in set pieces?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I got to say Ward-Prowse just in terms of continuity and consistency.
I got to say Grimaldo because live those set pieces were crazy for Benfica.
Yeah, no. I mean, they're good, but hey.
It's like guiding him towards improvements. It's like mad. Oh,
it's true.
Days.
It's true.
But
we'll see. One of them is going to play a role this weekend, or who knows, maybe both. Not this week. Not this weekend, this week.
This week on Thursday. Yeah. But let us know your thoughts, your predictions. What have we missed? And do you agree or disagree with what we just said with Europa League?